Once upon a time in a small enchanting corner of Belgium, there lived a boy named Edouard Louis Joseph Empain. He wasn't born a prince, but in time the world would come to know him as Prince Empain. Even as a child, Edouard was different. While others played with toys or collected trinkets, Edouard was enchanted by the symphony of human ingenuity around him. He dreamt of cities, magical cities where everyone could live together in harmony, surrounded by beauty, laughter, and progress. Little did Edouard know, his dreams were already shaping his destiny. They would lead him on a journey that would stretch across continents and eventually land him in the golden sands of Egypt. As Edouard grew older, he followed his passion for creation. Engineering became his way of turning dreams into reality. He worked in the world of railway construction, where he wasn't just laying tracks across countries, but paving the pathways of opportunity. His projects took him to far-off lands, each one leaving its mark on him. Then came a life-changing stop, India. There, Edouard stumbled upon a world unlike anything he had ever known. The vibrant architecture struck him with its blend of intricate detail and cultural harmony. Hindu temples with sweeping spires, Mughal forts with domed towers. It was as if every building was alive, telling a story older than time. Edouard found himself captivated. Something deep within him awoke, and a seedling of inspiration began to grow. It was no longer enough to build functionally. Edouard wanted to build beautifully, to blend art and utility, to craft something that would stand not just for decades but forever. But it wasn't India where his grandest vision would take shape. That honor belonged to Egypt. The first time Edouard stepped onto Egyptian soil, he felt it. An electric pulse in the air, a gust of excitement stirring his adventurous soul. Cairo was bustling with life, a city of rich history and dynamic energy. But Edouard's gaze shifted eastward to the horizon where the city ended and the desert began. In that vast emptiness, he didn't see barren wasteland. He saw potential. A city, gleaming and full of life, called to him from the untouched sands. It was an outrageous idea, building not just a town but an entirely modern city in the middle of the desert. People scoffed at him, but naysayers had never stopped Edouard before. Purchasing a colossal stretch of land, he formed the Oasis company and began sketching his vision. He called it Heliopolis, after the ancient Egyptian city of the sun. To Edouard, it was fitting. His dream was to bring light to the desert, to create an oasis not just of water but of innovation, beauty, and life. Every detail of Heliopolis was inspired by Edouard's global journeys. Drawing from European elegance and Eastern mysticism, he envisioned wide streets that breathed openness, lined with shady parks where families could gather. The city would host grand buildings with architectural designs that combined Islamic domes, European balconies, and Indian flourishes. It would be not just a place to live, but a masterpiece of urban design. And for Edouard, this wasn't just a project, it was his magnum opus. But creating paradise in the desert was no simple feat. The challenges piled up quickly. From turning arid sands into livable land to persuading investors to believe in his vision, every step tested his resolve. Critics labeled him a dreamer, a fool who had bitten off more than he could chew. And yet Edouard smiled, never letting the skepticism drown out the fire in his heart. Slowly but surely, Heliopolis began to take form. In the heart of the growing city, Edouard built his sanctuary, the majestic Empain Palace. Modeled after the Hindu temples he had seen in India, the palace was utterly unique, blending Hindu and Buddhist architectural styles in a way that seemed to defy not just culture, but imagination itself. Its red brick towers stretched into the sky, capped with ornate carvings, while the interior held spiraling staircases and intricate woodwork. The pièce de résistance was its rotating tower, offering a panoramic view of the city, a symbol of Edouard's dream that his creation should be seen from every angle. But Edouard didn't stop there. For him, a city wasn't complete without a space for spiritual harmony. Inspired by the grandeur of the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul, he designed the Basilica of the Holy Virgin. Its soaring ceilings, detailed mosaics, and solemn atmosphere invited people of all faiths to find peace. The years flew by, each one bringing Edouard closer to his vision. Heliopolis blossomed. Once barren desert was now alive with schools, shops, gardens, and trams that hummed through the city like veins carrying its lifeblood. Families thrived in the neighborhoods he built. His dream was no longer just his. It belonged to the thousands of people who called Heliopolis home. By the late 1920s, Edouard's health began to fail. In 1929, after decades of relentless work and unbridled imagination, Prince Empain passed away. But while his journey had come to an end, his city lived on. Roads that were once quiet now buzzed with life. Homes he had planned with care were filled with laughter and love. The sunlit dream he had built in the sands of Egypt continued to shine. Today, Heliopolis stands as a testament to what one person's vision can achieve. In its grand streets, its blend of architecture, its bustling energy, you can still hear the whisper of Edouard's dream. And the barren palace, though its stones are weathered by time, still watches over the city, a reminder of a man who saw beauty where others saw emptiness. So, if you ever find yourself wandering through Heliopolis, tracing the path from the barren palace to the basilica, remember the story of Edouard Empain, the man who turned sand into a city and a dream into reality. Let his story remind you that no dream is too large, no vision too bold. Because sometimes the greatest treasures aren't found. They're built, brick by brick, heart by heart, in the middle of nowhere.